Chris Broussard, first things first, joining us live. So, listen, I just said this. I can't figure Kevin Durant out, but I thought leaving Golden State was a really poor decision. I don't have a problem with him leaving with 4 years left in Brooklyn. I don't think he has the coach. I don't think he has the co-stars. It doesn't work for me. What do you make of the Warrior rumors? Now, Golden State would absolutely kick the tires. If they could get a screaming deal like Wiggins and Wiseman, they'll probably make the deal. They're reportedly they're okay. Do you think Durant would go back?
It's interesting, Colin, because if I were in Kevin, I wouldn't think he'd want to. And I know many people around the league that would be like, why in the world would he do that? You know, all the talk over the last few months since Golden State's won the championship, all the criticism about they didn't need Durant, it all would be like, why in the world would you go back there and kind of confirm what all the people have been saying about you not being a leader, all right? Them not needing you and you still going back there. But I've talked to some people that say Durant is open to this, like he's considering it.
Yeah.
And if you look at you mentioned Marcus Thompson's story in The Athletic. And he said that the stars, that would be Steph, Clay, and Draymond, have been talking with KD. About what? I mean, what's there to talk about outside of this? And I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just saying that some people, I have been told by someone that KD would be open to this. All right? And if you look at, just putting a few things together, Colin, if you look at Draymond Green, his revisionist history on that great podcast network, The Volume, last week.
Yeah.
All right, where he said, we don't beat Cleveland without KD. Wasn't Draymond the one that said, we don't need you, leave?
Right.
All right, now all of a sudden we're going to beat Cleveland without you? All right, so all of this, if Draymond's one of those that's been talking with KD, maybe he said this too, Colin, we're going to win 3 of the next 4 championships. Do you say that with the current roster? I mean, it's nice. Obviously, they just won a title. But 3 of the next 4 sounds like you might have something up your sleeve. So all I'm saying is this. I'm just saying, like you, Colin, I'm not flat out dismissing it. All right? I don't think it happens, but I do think I've been told that KD is not just flatly against this.
Right.
And that is something he might consider. So all I'm saying is it's a possibility. That's it.
You know, it's interesting. Not everybody is a leader. Not everybody's John Elway or Peyton Manning or Brady or Russell Wilson. Not everybody is Steph Curry or LeBron. Some guys just like to play sports. You know what I mean? Some guys just want to run routes, catch a football, and go home and hang out. Some basketball players want to hoop it and hang out and go do whatever they want to do when they go home. And I look at Kevin Durant. He is so impulsive that, Chris, I look at him and I think he's not LeBron, Giannis, Curry. I'm not building around him. He's more of an enhancer than a franchise guy. He's more Kawhi. He's more AD. He can win you a title, but I do think leaving Brooklyn, I kind of look at him differently, that he's really impulsive. Those guys, I wouldn't like Phoenix this morning. There's a reporter out there that said, that's tied to the team, that said they're not going to get the franchise for him. They can't. You can't trust him, right? You just don't know. So I do look at Kevin a little differently, demanding to get out of Brooklyn. I think it's the right move. But is it fair to look at him now and just say, listen, man, he's impulsive, and you can't give up your franchise for him?
Well, the reason that you've heard that teams won't give everybody up, remember, Minnesota that just made the trade for Rudy Gobert. There were reports that they reached out to Brooklyn or they spoke with Brooklyn before about Kevin Durant, and they wouldn't give up Anthony Edwards, which I get, young budding superstar. They wouldn't give up Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns? Kevin Durant? I mean, I'm doing that in a heartbeat. But they reportedly would not do that. And it's because, look, Kevin Durant has been in the NBA for 11 seasons, Colin, without Golden State, right? And he hasn't won a championship in those 11 seasons. The only time he won was when he was with Golden State. So if you're not the Warriors, you're a team saying, is he going to lead us? And what we have found out, really what's been confirmed over this last year or so, is that Kevin Durant is obviously not a leader. He said that himself in 2017 in an interview with GQ magazine. But also that he doesn't have the intangibles to lead a team to the championship as the lead, like culture setter, leader of that team.
Right.
He doesn't. That's what he doesn't have. And that's the difference. This is, if he were to go back to Golden State and win championships, sure, it's great. 3 championships, 4 championships he's got, whatever it would end up being. People are always, though, going to kind of underrate him a bit, because now we know he's not like Steph. He's not like Tim Duncan. He's not like LeBron or Kobe or Matt. Like, those guys not only had the ability, he's got the ability, but they had the intangibles, leadership being one of those intangibles. And KD doesn't have that. In a sense, maybe you say good for him for recognizing that.
Right.
But it also is going to follow him and impact his legacy.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up Luka or Edwards. I wouldn't give up Anthony Edwards for Durant, and I love Durant, but I wouldn't do it.
Right.
So, Kyrie's interesting. I do think he fits with LeBron. I think you got to get Westbrook and LeBron. It's one thing to not make the playoffs, but I think deep down LeBron knows Westbrook can't play off the ball. It doesn't work. Kyrie's great off the ball. He's great with the ball. He's great off the ball. And I don't see Kyrie as a declining player. I see him as a player who may put basketball second sometimes, but I think his shot making, his ball handling, I never thought he was a great athlete. He's a good athlete, but I don't think he's a declining player. I just think he's a unique individual, and I don't know if he's going to give you more than 55 games a year, whatever. Are you surprised? First of all, do you think the deal is going to get done in L.A., and are you surprised by it?
I do think it's going to get done. And let me quickly say this, because this ties into Durant as well. If I were the Nets, Colin, I would not be rushing into these deals to trade KD and Kyrie. I said they're under contract. I would have told Durant, look, we'll consider it when he went with the trade request to Joe Tsai, but we're going to do what's best for the franchise. We love you. We want you here, but we'll consider it. If we get some traction on something, we'll come to you. But right now, plan on seeing us in training camp. Same thing with Kyrie. And if I get a deal, then I'm willing to do something. But they don't seem to be taking that tact. And it looks like the Lakers are the only team that really wants Kyrie, at least at this point. The trade deadline, some teams will take him because he'll be on an expiring contract. But right now, it's the Lakers or bust. And I agree from the Lakers' perspective, they're desperate. And the only way they can be in the championship mix next year is to get Kyrie for Westbrook. And if they can get a Seth Curry or Joe Harris with them, then all the more greater, because they need shooting. Yeah. They've done a good job, Colin, of adding youth and athleticism over the free agency period, but they need shooting.
Yes.
Kyrie helps in that. And we know he can play with LeBron.
Yes.
If they do this, they're a contender. My question is their health with all 3 of their stars, and Kyrie, you just don't know. Will he tire of playing with LeBron after 6 weeks? Will he be homesick? I know he spends summers in L.A., but will he get homesick after being at home in New Jersey for 3 years? Those are very possible things, because Kyrie, any player that's played with him, will tell you he's moody. Yeah. So it's a risk for the Lakers, but what else? They've got nothing else. They are desperate. There's a reason they're the only team that wants Kyrie Irving at this point.
Yeah, and I also think LeBron only plays about 55 games, so Kyrie's going to run the show potentially for a lot more games than he did with LeBron in Cleveland. When LeBron was playing 75 games, he's not playing 75 games. So it's going to be Kyrie's team on a lot of nights, and I think he likes that. I want to segue to this one player. First of all, the fact that Danny Ainge got 5 picks for Rudy Gobert is larceny. It's incredible. It's one of the deals of the century. And I like Rudy Gobert, but that's insane. But that means, they're starting over. They're going to move Donovan Mitchell. They're starting over. I think it looks fairly obvious. So Donovan can play. I don't think Durant's going to end up in Miami. I just have this instinct that Donovan Mitchell is going to the Heat. That's what it feels like to me. Because it's pretty clear he's tearing it down to the studs. That just like he did in Boston. Your thought on Donovan Mitchell's future? Because I think he's a really special player.
Well, look, they may wait, and Donovan may be on board with waiting until after the All-Star game, right? I mean, it's in Salt Lake City, remember, this year. And that'll be great for him. Even if he wants out of there, that'll be great for him to be at home and, kind of be the host of the weekend. So I think if they trade him, it'll likely be after that. So it could be the trade deadline or it could be next summer. But, yeah, Miami would certainly be a team that's in the mix, and he'd be great there. Look, he's from the New York area, right? Upstate New York. The Knicks, I don't think that happens. But what about Brooklyn? And he can't be on the roster with Ben Simmons on the roster, right? Because of this rule with this collective bargaining agreement. But if I'm the Nets, and this is one reason, Colin, I wouldn't rush into a deal with KD or Kyrie. If I'm the Nets, if Ben Simmons comes out and plays well this season, shows that he's over the mental cobwebs and things like that, why not try to move him, get him off the roster, and then in any move you do with KD, you can bring Donovan Mitchell onto your roster. I'm not saying you send KD to Utah, because if they're rebuilding, they're not interested, but maybe a 3-team type of deal. So I just think that, Miami certainly would be a possibility for Donovan. But if I'm Brooklyn, he's one of those players that I have my eye on if I'm trading Kevin Durant. Because if I'm running Brooklyn, I don't want to start all over. I mean, we've been there, done that. I want to try to get some young stars that I can build around. And so Donovan Mitchell would be one of the guys on my list. So I think they should consider that if he indeed becomes available, which I think he will.
Chris Broussard, happy Independence Day, my friend. You do great work. I love checking in with you.
You too, brother.
Have a great day, man. There you go.
All right. I'll see you.